Welcome to the All for Your Life podcast, where you can write a new script for your life and become the hero of your story. I'm your host, David McRae. You are the author of your life. Let's get started.
All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
It is not our abilities that show what we truly are. It is our choices.
Hello, Story Changers, and welcome back to another episode of the Isolation Inspiration Interview series. Our next guest in the series is Jojo Fraser. Jojo is an award-winning author, coach, podcaster, and motivational speaker. She is also a regular speaker and guest on BBC Radio. Jojo believes that we are all born to lead. She has been a mental health researcher for the past 6 years and helps to empower, motivate, and uplift the leaders she works with. In our interview today, you will learn that you have to be careful of the highs of mental health as well as the lows. Self-care means not having to justify saying no to someone. That you can never measure self-worth with a number. And don't do something just because it is an opportunity provided by coronavirus. You're going to learn this and so much more in this interview with Jojo Fraser.
When I was in primary school, the first time, because part of what I do is sort of entertaining people, get them singing out of their mind and in their mojo. So there's quite an element of entertainment to it, and a lot of the vlogs that I do, and a little bit of comedy, just to not take yourself too seriously. So I remember this moment in primary school when I discovered drama, and they were getting us to do scripts, and I was like, this is incredible, because I was this really nervous child. And I was like, wow, whoa, this is amazing. Like, I can entertain and be a different character, and I don't have to be like a little shy girl. So I carried that on right through school, and everyone thought I was going to drama school. But then a teacher said to me, why drama school? You know, it's really competitive. You're amazing at business management. You could get, a degree in that. So I got a really good grade. Like, I think it was the highest A in the year for business management. So I was like, well, maybe that's a sign I should do that and be sensible. And I met some amazing people, traveled, had some amazing jobs in kind of media and agency and client, and really quite big roles, like with huge brands. And then traveled the world for a year, came back, was like, right, what am I going to do now? Did similar sort of roles for boutique hotels. And then after a while, just sort of thought, oh, the passion's not really, it's great, but it's someone else's product and I'm selling what they love. And then I took time out, had my beautiful little daughter, I've got 2 kids, Bonnie's 7 and Charlie's 5. So I think that time to reflect, it really changes you. You want to do more. You want to have this sort of legacy for your kids. And so I started doing the blogging. I set up Mommy Jojo. And then my dad got really unwell with depression. Had no idea how much stigma there was. So started to do some research. I started to write a book. The blog was doing really, really well. And then the book came out and that did really well. I was really helping people, was making a lot of noise, getting loads of good reviews. And I've just continued to be like a content creator with the topic of well-being, but try not to always have it so serious, because then I take that on and I would get quite unwell. There was a point I was interviewing all the time and the stories were tough and people were sharing their traumas and how they got out through the other side to give people hope. But I would, looking back, I really take these stories, I'd cry with people, I'd learn with them, and then I realized, wow, I'm taking on all of this and giving out all my positive energy, which is what the brand's known for, like Queen of Positivity. But yeah, there's a balance. So I've tried to really organically just ensure I protect my own mind, because it's vulnerable.
Mm.
As we all, I mean, we all have a mind, so we all have mental
Yeah,
health.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, here I am writing, working on another book. I've got my podcast, which is the same name as the first book. So Jojo Fraser, time for a Mojo injection, helping people get the Mojo back. And yeah, it's great. I absolutely love it. I love what I do, and it's different every day. It's really different. So I meet so many amazing people too.
Mhm.
So here I am.
Yeah. Going right back to those early stages, Jojo, with the drama, what do you think drama allowed you to develop and find within yourself?
Confidence, certainly, because I'd taken on a lot of anxiety from both my parents. I think my dad, well, a lot of people say I'm just a mini version of my dad. So he is just like, Robin Williams, who was like
Mm.
my favorite actor. My dad is just like him, hilarious, um, when he's in the flow, like on stage or doing the talk, he just comes to life. So I think it brought me to life. When you can have subjects at school perhaps that drain you and you're just not loving them. It was love at first try, and then it was just, yeah, I feel alive when I'm on stage. I feel alive when I'm in character. You can really put some stuff into it, even if you're feeling flat, or you're struggling with your confidence. You're someone else. You're just like, yes, here I am. Let's do this.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just love it. I love everything about it.
You then had this period of a creative passion capturing you, but then more of the established route and established role kind of pulling you away from that. And I think this happens with so many people, especially when they're young, is they have some kind of creative passion or dream within their heart. And at some point, they kind of just sort of scrunch up and throw it away, or they push it deep, deep, deep inside them and go for the more established path. For someone who is maybe having this struggle between what they really want to do and kind of what they're being expected to do, what would you say to them to help in that process?
Yeah, it's so hard, and sometimes a lot of people I talk to, it takes an event, it takes something, perhaps they've been in an accident or a family member gets sick. Um, but I would say you don't have to wait till something really, really life changing is happening, a relationship breakdown or anything, things that impact us all. I think it's just taking time to reflect. Like, we are being forced to slow down at the moment with the lockdown, and we are in such a fast-paced world where we distract ourselves, and it's very, very easy to distract yourself, but you need time to tune into that gut feeling, and to know what you really, really want. It's not what a parent wants or a friend or a partner wants, it's what you really, really want. Are you living out a life that you really need to be? And I think that's a personal thing. Your gut feeling will really tell you that if you take the time to get still. And when you can tune into that little voice, it's just reminding yourself that actually you are worth it. You do deserve to do something that you really, really love. You do deserve to do something where you feel you're making a difference, and it's like your passion. And I just think, life's so short, and seeing how sick my dad got, or seeing friends that have got really ill that are younger than me, you're thinking, it's it's never too late. We tell ourselves these stories, can't do that now, I've got kids, or can't do that now. It's reframing those thoughts and challenging those thoughts and saying, no, actually, what if I gave that a shot? And perhaps not looking sort of short term, but thinking long term, in 3 years, what would that mean? Rather than, when I was training for a marathon, I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I'd earned a lot of money raised a lot of money for a mental health foundation. And I was thinking, how on earth am I going to run a marathon? But it's not thinking about running the marathon. It's thinking, right, I'll get that mile done. Then I'll come back. We'll rest, we'll get the next mile done. So it can be very easy for those noises, the negative noises, to sort of stop us from doing what we love and keeping us from our passions. So it takes a lot of practice to say, oh, I'm really noticing that I'm getting these negative thoughts, rather than this is what it is. It's like, I'm noticing that. Distance yourself from it, and then have your goal, right? And then you just daily have to check in, whether that means writing down or doing a vision board or something like that. Like one of my goals when I was unwell, first ever time in my life I've been in hospital unwell. They said that I had hypomania, so it's when my baseline's very, very high. What happened was I went above that, so so I was just loving life. I had so much energy, but I'd stopped sleeping, and they had to force me to take a rest because the insomnia was making me paranoid, and it was sort of really quite a scary time. Our minds are so precious. There's so many good things we can do for our mind, and I really wanted to get out and back to my freedom. I felt like a naughty school child. They'd take your laptop, take the phone, like, you need to rest. You've not rested since like 8 years, because I became a mom. I've raised these two kids. I've tried my best. I've been doing a full-time job, and then it can creep up on you so quickly and so easily. You're like, boom. So I had written on the wall, like, you are capable, you are strong, you do deserve a rest, you will get out of here soon. You know, all these sort of positive mantras, rather than you're useless. How could you let this happen? How could you get burnt out? How could you not be aware? You know, all the sort of negative narrative. You have to learn to distance. And I would say physically writing down, this is the goal. So my goal then was get out of here well and rested, rather than, do you know what I mean? So it's, you can apply it to a project, or you can apply it to a dream job. You can apply it to anything. It can be short term, long term, you know.
Mm-hmm. What led to you deciding to do that marathon?
Being a parent is exhausting. So having time to run and have that space for me, raising awareness for the mental health charities. I think as well, raising awareness about running and mental health, because a lot of people find that they hate the idea of going for a run, but once they do it, they've got all this natural, like the happy hormones and stuff. So if we can get as much of that natural happy hormone as possible, then that's ideal. A marathon is quite extreme, so even like my first goal was a 10K. And that was scary at the time. That was the year before I did the marathon. I thought, how am I going to run a 10K? That's insane. Did the 10K, and then I signed up for the marathon after that, because I was just buzzing. I had so much energy. And it was really a time where society would say you shouldn't have energy, because I had a 1 and a 3-year-old. But it helped me to be a better mom. I was feeling strong. I was playing more with them. I had more energy. Mentally, I felt amazing. It was just, I was lucky that I had a support system to do that. But I just made it, I had to make it happen. Saturday morning was the long run. And then I had a couple of shorter runs, and just made it happen. But there was a drive there. It was something that I really wanted to do. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I want to run a marathon in my lifetime. And I was like, yeah, I think becoming a mum gave me so much motivation. Like, I wanted to really be the best version of me for these kids to see that. Definitely need to get into running again. But yeah, I loved it.
You were talking about your energy levels there, and you gave 2 examples of it's exhausting being a parent, and also you have this very high energy, and actually you needed to take a rest and slow down. How do you go about managing your energy nowadays?
Good question. I think sometimes you have to take it a day by day. You know, there's hormones, there's times of the month where you might not have as much energy. So I think it's checking in with yourself, right? How am I feeling today? What's the nutrition like? I mean, it's been hard at the moment because I can't just go to the shop anytime I want. These need to be planned, and you don't know if you're going to get vegetables. You don't know. So I would say keeping check of like what I'm putting into my body, and just really, yeah, thinking about it on a day by day, like what's the best thing for me right now, because we're all energy. And when you meet someone, you feel their energy straight away. So normally when I'm if it's a work thing and I show up, I want to show up fully. I want to give all of me. I want to give the best of me. If I'm doing a talk, I'm like, yes, right. Everyone in this room has to feel something. I need to give everything. And it can be like that being a mum as well. You know, you're playing with them and you're baking and you're like, yeah, you're trying to entertain. And then you get like, oh, I'm so tired. So it's being aware that you also need that time to sit and chill out and have a mindful cup of tea or something like that, and just keep in check with yourself, because it's impossible to have that energy all day, you know. And I have a very, very calm, quiet, so a lot of people would dub me as she's crazy, she's wild, she's an entertainer, but they're just labels. It's just part, we've all got that in us, you know. We've all got that wild side, we've all got that calm, quiet side. I have a very, very boring, quiet, chilled side where I just like to sit and read or just daydream, or, you know, just not really do anything. So I think it's just reminding yourself as well that you deserve to have different types of energy, because your brain needs that. You know, we need that. We all deserve time to have fun and boo 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 and have bring the energy, and then time to just really slow it down. I mean, I've got very strict with myself lately because I did have that little stint where I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I didn't know, because I'd researched about depression and anxiety and burnout and stress. I hadn't really researched about the high, you know, so I couldn't recognize it because I was thinking, no, it's just really exciting right now. Life's amazing. I'm not sleeping because I'm working on these projects. I'm fine. Then it was like, all right, okay, because there's a balance, because I work with a lot of people that are like all about the dreaming, and they're like, willpower put a man on the moon and we need all this. And it can be easy to really go up there and just dream, 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 and things are happening and you're visualizing things and they're coming true and all this is happening. It can be easy to really, really just get swept into that all. But we do have a physical body that we need to look after. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff we can't see. We can't see our energy. Well, some people see energy, but you know, you can't see all this like, whoa. But we do need to remember we have a physical body. Our mind can take us all these great places, and we need confidence. And people that have done amazing things have incredible minds. So yeah, I think it's just reminding yourself, I do have a body I need to look after as well.
Yeah, I love that distinction you make between the kind of lows of mental health, where traditionally we focus on a little bit more, but there is the highs of mental health as well. And intellectually, maybe we think, oh, the happier you can be, the better, the more energetic you can be, the better. But there is a balancing process with this as well. Neither extreme of the scale is a good place to be. You are wanting to be somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely. We need to be, I think for me, because I am naturally seen, as I said, as high, and I've always sang a lot. So when I was in hospital, they were saying to my family, oh, she's very stimulated, so she's singing. And they were like, no, that's what she's like, baseline. She
Yeah.
does sing all the time. So it was looking for other things, like, was I getting up really early and being like, yeah, like when I was in hospital, I was going around all the patients trying to help them. And they were like, this is amazing. Like I was using like proper like coaching stuff on them, and they were just feeling amazing, and they were thanking me, and they were like, oh, this is brilliant. And then the nurses were like, you're in here to rest, not like thank you for help. It's great because they're short staffed, but they're like, go and lock yourself in the room. But then they're all knocking on my door saying, oh, you've really helped, can we get another wee Mojo injection? I was passing copies of my book around, so they're all reading the Mojo injection. I was running them bubble baths and stuff. Just mental, but that's who I am. It's like I am an intense. I would say I'm more intense. I am maybe a wee bit higher. But when do you know if it's dangerous? Well, your mind's racing in your sleep. You're not sleeping, or not sleeping enough. You think you're invincible. Loads and loads of energy. Yeah, I think the sleep's the biggest one. And then there's a lot of other things, like perhaps if it gets quite serious, then friends will notice and family, because you'll maybe say things you wouldn't normally say. Like, I don't have much of a filter, but it was gone, totally gone, which is mortifying, because you think, wow. And I was fine with people that I didn't know that well. It was the people closest to me that got it. Oh, wow. And it's really hard. And the doctors will say, that wasn't you, that was the illness. So you have to be really, really careful. Because for me, by the time we noticed, it was almost like I was going into that, yeah, just different personalities. So with some people, it was amazing. And those closest to me, wow, just a totally different lens. It's like you focus on the negative in certain people. Perhaps if it's like, so if they just say like your mom nags at you, right? And it's out of love, or a partner nags at you out of love. For me, it was like any nagging was the worst thing. It felt like abuse, or it just my mind just couldn't take it. And that's quite scary looking back, actually, because you just have this desire to be free, and it's like you're flying and everything's going incredible. And anyone that says anything, like, how you talk about mood hoovers, people that can drain you or pull you down when you're doing great things. Oh, careful, careful, you shouldn't do this. And normally I'd be like, right, thanks, right, I know you care, but I'm going to do it, I'm fine. But this time, actually, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't great, but it was like, how dare you, go away. Like, I remember actually getting my duvet and lifting it over my head. I was like, I cannot talk. And my mum was like, well, I just care about you. And I was like, get out. Scary. So our mind, what I would say to people is, people would never have seen that coming in me, because I was chilled. I was doing yoga, I was doing meditation, but I was going for massages. I was doing all the right stuff, but if you were to add up the hours, it just sort of tipped over. I was giving everything, and I wasn't counting how many hours I was working, and then it just kind of tipped. There was a few different things going on, and we all have triggers. We all have triggers in life of stress. Every single day, you could have triggers if you focus on that. So yeah, I would just say to people, be very careful, because it's such a common thing, but I hadn't heard of it. Like hypomania or mania, so common, just as common as the lows. So it's quite crazy, actually, to think of that.
Something that's apparent to me, Jojo, is you have this drive to succeed in the different ventures that you put yourself into. Is, if I'm doing it, I'm doing it. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it well. I'm putting everything into it. Is this a trait that you've always had, or have you developed it?
Um, I'm not sure. I never thought of myself as ambitious, or I've always sort of thought of myself as quite a chilled person who just loves having fun. But looking back, if I get an idea in my head, I am very determined. Um, I'm very passionate. Sometimes that passion can go into obsession. So, and that could be something like when I decided I wanted to have a baby. I was saying to my husband, right, he's like, we've been married a month. And I was like, no, 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 I want to have this. And I was determined. And it happened, very quickly. So if I get an idea in my head, yeah, I'm very passionate, and I can just really, yeah, there's nothing that will stop me, really. But I think what happened was, when I got sick, it was like buses. There was a few things coming, and they were all really exciting. And I was still trying to be super mom and dancing with the kids and collecting the kids and being like there for them and having their meals and doing vlogs of me cooking because people wanted to see what I was making for dinner. And do you know what I mean? It was just, I think we all need to maybe have one big thing. Like, so obviously you care and you want to be there for people, but in terms of your thing, like your creative outlet or your job or whatever, maybe just focus a bit more. Don't be afraid to say no. Say no a little bit more if you find that you're running about too much. There's nothing wrong with saying no. Um, you can't like I used to worry about letting people down, but what I say now is if it's a busy month, I'll say, well, I'm quite stretched at the moment, so I really can't take that on right now. But thank you. It's not, do you know, we just have to be so careful because we're plugged on. I have no screens in the bedroom, certainly at night now. I mean, they're out. I don't look. My phone's put in a digital detox box. It's gone. I don't look at it. It's like go away. But before, when I was getting swept into things, my phone would be right beside me. If I woke up in the night, I'd be like, oh, my phone, what can I do? Oh, I'll just do that quick video, or I'll just write a few hundred words to that book. So yeah, I think we can all be in danger of this, but then you can be in danger of going the opposite way too.
Yeah.
We need a balance.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any extra guidance on how you say no? Because I feel the advice, just say no, is a little bit of a platitude sometimes. And you went into a little bit of detail of how to do it. How do you think we can say no without having all of the things that we worry about? Fear of missing out, fear of upsetting other people. How can we do that no that protects ourselves whilst at the same time kind of overcoming the fears that we have associated with saying no?
Yeah, that's really, really hard, but I think it's just checking in and having that self-compassion every day and being very aware of how much you've got on your plate, because self-compassion is a big thing because we do want to please people and we want to be there and we don't want to let people down. But I think if we, for me, like educating people more on what can happen and how easy and how it can actually just flip. Um, and as I say, people were so shocked to hear I was in a hospital. They were like, what? How on earth could that happen to you? But I perhaps lost that for a month or two. I just lost that. There's no shame in saying no. So it's reminding yourself that actually saying no is a really powerful, a really positive thing. Um, our mental health is actually at the heart of the nation. Mental health is everything. It impacts everything. Our relationships, the way we have road rage, how we speak to people in the supermarket. It's at the heart of everything, and that's our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual health. So we need time to work on all of that and our body. So I guess it's saying first, well, if you don't have time to do the basics, then you should be saying no. If you've not got time to have 5 minutes of meditation or prayer or just still time, if you've not got time to go for a walk for 10 minutes or get half an hour exercise in a day, whatever way you want, I guess in isolation, dance around the kitchen if you don't want to leave the house or whatever, be inventive. But if you don't have time to chill out and let the brain slow down, then actually, no, you just have to. So perhaps having a little bit of a plan in place so that you feel like the no is justified. And just being honest with people and saying, I really do have to stick by it. There's a lot on, and I just can't do it all. I really can't do it all. And I think this time is going to be great for that because people will realize how much they've needed the break and how much, you've got time to think about what's really important. And I was in hospital thinking, wow, I can't read my kids. I saw the kids a lot, but I couldn't read my kids and tuck them in. I was like, this is insane. How has it come to this? How on earth? And they say sometimes these things can happen really, really slowly. So you just have to be aware. If people are saying to you as well, oh, you seem so busy, probably take that as a right, because that's all people would ever say to me. Oh, you're so busy. Well done. You're so busy. You're so busy. It's like, am I? Oh, because we sometimes just accept the new normal, the standard of, oh, well, people expect me to be on my emails at 8 o'clock at night. I just do a little bit while the kids are happy, playing or whatever. We need to make these new normals, right? This is when I put my screen away. This is when I protect my mind. Like, we actually have to be so aware of how easy these things are, and I see it everywhere. And there'll be a lot you don't know about because people won't talk about it. So how many people that are posting on their socials or doing these big events? I've got a friend who speaks to thousands of people, but he's had serious anxiety issues, and you never know that. It's just, yeah, we've all got our thing. We've all got our, whether it's a confidence thing, an anxiety thing, a kind of overwhelmed thing, a people pleaser thing. We've all got something that makes us vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So self-awareness is good for that too. Meditate, all these times, sitting, maybe writing, what can you do today that's really, really going to be useful for your mental health. And if that means you can't do that thing, just say, today I'm really sorry, but I really need this time to do this. If you want to, it's fine. But as well, we don't have to justify ourselves to people either. You know that feeling like you have to justify why you're not doing something. Sometimes you just say, oh, I just can't right now. And that's enough.
Mm-hmm. Going back to some of your journey again, you left school and you went through quite a sort of traditional sort of career path, and you made this transition into the things that you're doing now. Can you talk us through a little bit more about the process of where that idea came from? We've been talking about creativity a little bit so far. What was the first inkling or nudge that pushed you onto this new path?
When I was an account manager for luxury hotels, so I helped to launch Blythewood Square in Glasgow. I was doing a lot of wining and dining, and the team would always say, we love your writing, you need your own blog, you're very honest, people would love your blog. And I thought, yeah, I do, because I've written all my life. Like, my mum has given me notepads of like novels I've written, like, and my little girl reads them and she loves them, and she's a great writer. But I think what people like about my writing is I'm very honest. It's just like the first book was just so honest that it couldn't not help people's mental health. It's so honest about so many topics, and I don't know why, I just don't care. It didn't bother me. Like, people are like, do you not mind being that honest? Well, no, you have to be honest in the work that I do. So knowing that I probably had a personality for it, like my dad would always say, oh, you'd be a great TV presenter or whatever. I knew that, because I started a blog, but then when social media was going crazy, I was like, I knew I just had to, because people would say when I was behind the camera doing little videos, you just don't care. You're just totally yourself. You're so genuine. Like, and I was, well, why would it be any other way? But then apparently this was quite rare. There was a lot of people that weren't prepared to put themselves behind the camera and make fun of themselves and sing like no one's listening. So yeah, I just thought, well, okay, if people are enjoying it and it's making them feel better, why not? Why not? So yeah, so feedback from other people, because sometimes you just need. I'm quite big on words, like positive words. So if people say to me, like, you really should write a book, your blog's great, or you really should do more videos, you're really positive and we need more of that, I listen. I really listen to feedback as well, as long as I'm enjoying it. So if someone said, oh, you need to do more, something that I was really bored, I wouldn't listen. But if it feels right and I'm like, yes, that's amazing. So yeah, feedback's been huge for me. But also that gut feeling as well. It's just, you just know when you love something. Like, you're excited. And then if it stops becoming exciting, then you look for a different angle. Okay, well, this is kind of maybe ran its course. Let's try something else, and see how that goes. And we can be so creative these days with so many channels. There's so many places that we can go online. And I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing. There's articles I wrote on mummyjojo.com like years ago that are still getting hundreds of hits a day. I'm like, how is that article constantly. Like, it's crazy to think that so many people around the world are reading it and it's helping them. I just think that was just one day where I had that thing, like, people are really struggling with this, let's write about this. And it's all about people stressed that they're not getting enough likes. Now, for me, I can put something live and doesn't get any likes, or what, it's not picked up in the feed. There's so many reasons, but I just put things out there, and then if people love them, great, they go a bit nuts, or if they don't, then it doesn't really matter. It was just a thought. It was just something I had, put it out there. You just don't really know. It's nothing personal, but a lot of people take it very personally, the likes and stuff. I think it would be great to take all those likes away. Actually, do you know if they did that? And they said they did that on Instagram, but I can still see likes.
Yeah, I think with Instagram, they put, so in the past it would say the number like 3,280. Now it will just say a person and others liked it. And if you click on, actually, I'm off Instagram. I've been off Instagram for about a month and a half now, so it may have changed. But last time I was on, when you clicked on and others, you can actually scroll down and see all who the others are, but it doesn't show up as a number anymore. So I think they've taken away the number aspect of you. The person with 300 is comparing themselves to 3,000, and the person with 3,000 is comparing themselves to the person with 30,000, and it just kind of gets into a cycle of just focusing on the numbers as a means of validation.
Yeah, it's nothing. Like, to me, I think if your intention's right with what you're doing, but it's easy for me to say that. It's easy for me to say, oh, but it genuinely just doesn't bother me. It's like, as long as you're putting out stuff that you enjoy, or you think might make someone smile, or just go with it. Follow your gut.
Yeah. How do you think we can be more authentic and genuine on social media, but probably actually just in life in general? Because I think people have a social media approach to life at times where there's this persona and image of themselves that they want to project, and it sounds to me as if it just kind of comes to you naturally, but maybe you have some insight into how it comes to you naturally.
I think it's just remembering that, labels aren't necessary. Like, labels can be harmful. So if you hold on to, oh, I'm the strong one, then you have this pressure. I hear friends say, but I'm strong, I'll be fine, I'm strong. And actually, it's okay to say, well, right now, today I feel quite weak, or today I feel. So checking in with how you feel, and then reminding yourself that there's no shame in how you feel. So challenging yourself about labels and where you've picked these labels up from, because a lot of people feel a pressure to be a certain way because of the labels that parents put on them. Oh, you're the really intelligent one, you're the really funny one. All right, so does that mean you have to make people laugh all the time? I think there's just real beauty in being like yourself, just being honest with people. It's much more powerful to show up fully as you are. And when you show up fully as you are, then you don't really need to show off, because you are just yourself, and that's enough. And if it's not enough for people, then take a bit of a break from those people if they're trying to change you all the time and they don't really. I've had a friend say to me once, oh, you're so chill, like, where's your crazy side? And the reason they were saying that is actually they weren't in a great point mentally at that time. So they were just wanting me to sort of compensate for how they were feeling. And maybe they didn't like silence at that time, but I was just happy to sit and watch the sunset and chill and not be a performing monkey. So sometimes people want you to be a certain way to deflect from how they're feeling. So it's good to keep that in mind, that actually, people can say things or they may not get you, but that's can be their stuff. It's not always your stuff. It's their stuff. So many people can put their stuff, their fears, their worries onto you, when actually, You need to just enjoy being who you are. And some days it's actually really satisfying for me to go, right, today's quite a flat afternoon, but that's okay, because I'm just going to sit with that. There's a reason for that. Or challenge it and say, well, I'm going to try and go walk, or I'm going to try and get some energy and see what happens. Sometimes you go for it and like, wow, that's just what I needed. And then other times, no, you still do feel a bit flat. Maybe you didn't sleep as well. Maybe you're on medication. Maybe you're working through something and you maybe need to journal it out, or focus on yourself a bit more. So yeah, just being kind. It always comes back to being kind to yourself, and knowing that it's you are enough, whatever way you show up. If people love you, they love you, and they have to take all of you.
Mm-hmm. You're quite fortunate that you've got a name that rhymes with Mojo, and you could slip that into the branding and the book and everything else. When did things start to develop from more than just a bit of blogging and vlogging, and gain a little bit of traction and direction and focus to what you find yourself ultimately doing now?
Yeah, the book was huge. As soon as the book went out, I was getting all these speaking inquiries. And that was amazing, because I love being on stage. And even if I'm on stages myself, I give it. Like, I'm there. And I think if you're present and you're in the moment, then you impact people more. So when I'm there, I'm fully there. I don't do PowerPoints. I have the odd image and stuff, but I just want people to be all in with me. So because I was all in on the book, then the speaking and the radio stuff, and I was all in on the kind of, doing a lot of broadcasting, doing a lot with BBC Radio. I'm just all in. I don't overthink how many are listening. I think I'm just there and I'm having fun and I'm putting a bit of personality into it and trying to entertain people. So I entertaining people through the book, through the radio, through the speaking, and thinking as well about the energy. And everyone was just always talking about my energy. Because when you think about your brand and you think, well, what am I doing? What is my mission? And at first it was just always to break the stigma of mental health, just to normalize discussions about our mind, and that still is very much part of it. And then the other part is just from everyone saying she brings the best energy. It's like, I do have this gift, apparently, that people are in the room with me, and that's what a lot of people say. It's when they're in the room with me, they just get this like boost. And there'll be people that have been on my podcast and stuff that are like, did you spike my coffee? Like, I was singing and dancing around, and yeah, when you get people saying that to you constantly, you're like, wow. So that really clicked about the energy. So I actually started an energy course, and realized that I could feel energy really, really strongly. And I can just sort of pick up stuff in people, how they are and what they need, and just see people on a case by case. And I think that helps when you're interviewing or you're coaching them or you're just seeing people, knowing what they need. So I think that started to really click. Like, the energy stuff was really helping. And just applying that to whether I'm on stage or where I'm doing a little acting thing behind the camera, or I'm coaching someone one-to-one. It's just like, just being there with them. When you're there and you're present and you're all in and you're like, boom, that's the good stuff. That's when you get the best in people. And I just love that. Yeah, it's just amazing. Like, I feel like I get to have amazing conversations all the time, and to get really deep, and to have a lot of fun. It's just great. It's amazing.
Let's shift the energy a little bit in this conversation, speaking of energy, and bringing it into the current context that we find ourselves in. We've largely managed to avoid saying the C word so far in the interview. But I would like to speak a little bit about the current challenge and the current situation that we find ourselves in. And to begin this discussion, how's coronavirus been affecting you in your life?
I think for me, firstly, gratitude is so important. I don't watch the news all day, so I'm really practicing what I preach. So, from a mental health point of view, I'm actually in quite a good place because I'm so thankful that my family are healthy. I'm thankful that I can pick up the phone and call my mum and dad. We were able to drop, my dad's 70th. We had to have the party virtually, but you'll never ever forget that. And then when we all get together to celebrate it, we can chat about it. We'll really appreciate being with people. Um, don't get me wrong, sometimes when you think, oh, how long will this go on for? I mean, but I prefer to focus on the present and the here and now. What do we have today? How are we feeling today? What can we do today? Um, and just see each day as an opportunity. We've never had this where you've had to be at home and really focus on what you have. Um, it's such a special time in ways if you focus on that, and then also you focus on the community and all the rainbows and all the people showing up to work that need to show up. You focus on, wow, isn't that amazing how many people are showing up, and isn't it amazing that if I get sick there's a NHS there to help. Isn't it amazing? So I think for me, I'm just not allowing it to get me in a dark place. I have a lot of perspective, also having been unwell and being out of hospital with my family. Just feel so fortunate that I have a home. I've got a blow up hot tub. So that is a place for me where it was the best thing I've ever bought. Literally, the kids love it. Being in there looking at the stars at night just calms me down and it takes me out of my negative frame. Something about being in the water outside just really helped me through this. A lot of people have written to me to say they've ordered a hot tub. um, and our neighbours have got one actually because they've seen how enjoying it. It's just my camp place. So yeah, nothing too negative. Like I know there's bad stuff going on, but listen, bad stuff happens all the time. There's negative news, there's positive news. I try and focus as much as I can on the positive just because I do know if we sit, and I've got people in my life that are constantly sending me negative links and they're just doing that out of fear. Please, should you be going a walk? My brother's living in Spain, so it's awful there, and he's been cooped up with his kids. Oh, for like weeks. And he's got two young kids. It must be horrendous. Um, and you'll send stuff about, oh, in Edinburgh there was this guy in hospital, and I'm like, well, that doesn't really help because, yeah, that's awful to know. But I'm staying in the house, and yeah, I'll go for the walk, but I'm not going near anyone, so I'm going by the guidelines. Don't worry. Because I guess in Spain they're not even allowed to go for a family walk. So he's probably thinking, wow, they're allowed to go out and walk in Scotland. Should they be going that walk? We can only do what we're told to do and really appreciate, I've never had so many woodland walks. We live right next to an amazing hill. That's massive and it's all woodland and the kids love it and they can jump on the rocks and there's some hills, so we're getting our fitness up. That's amazing to be able to do that. And we would never have had that if this, it would just be school and then they're tired when they get home and you're just feeding them. So yeah, I'm trying to stay positive. Really, really am.
Do you have any insights or thoughts on how people can cope and get through the current situation?
So I would say self-compassion meditation. So I've put some meditations on my YouTube. I don't do loads on there, but Jojo Fraser, you just go on. I've got some soothing, grounding meditations to put your energy behind your eyes, smiling, thinking about positive things, to reframe the mind. So a little bit of meditation. There's so many things online that you can go and use, you know. I would say getting a bit of fresh air if you can. Um, Focusing on what you're thankful for every day. Having those mindful tea breaks or coffee breaks where you sit and you kind of, you know, just are thankful for things. You tune into the smell, the coffee or the tea or whatever. You sit mindfully. Talking about how you feel, definitely sharing. If you're feeling anxious, right? I'm feeling quite anxious right now. Like, what would help? Shall I put a bit of trash on Netflix? Like, we all need a bit of trash. I was watching a show, Love Is Blind. It's so trashy, but it's just brilliant to get you out of that mind and just not taking yourself so seriously, you know. So put a bit of comedy on, get yourself out away from the news and into something that's just pure escapism where you don't have to think, you know, you don't have to overthink anything. Um, Really limiting your time on the news, once, twice a day max, put it off the rest. Um, and yeah, perhaps learning a new skill or using the time, if you've got any spare time, to perhaps, you know, think about what you really want, or, you know, who knows how long it's going to go on for, but just say it's another 3 months. Well, a month goes so quickly, a year goes so quickly. So focus on the sort of person you want to be in a few months' time. Do you want to learn a skill? Do you want to, you know, use your time out to go for a run to try and get fitter? Do you want to see yourself in a great new outfit? You know, learn an instrument, learn a language. Just focus on something positive out of it, because we can all get something positive out of this, you know. Um, every bad experience we have will teach us something which we can go and use to do something amazing.
Do you see any opportunities in the current situation?
For kindness, for self-compassion, I think the biggest thing for me is slowing down, because we were all going so crazy fast. Um, People will learn so much. Our kids getting time to be bored, to use their imagination, um, to not be so hard on ourselves because we can't say yes to everything. So that's really powerful, just to be able to sit and think. And, you know, meditation is a massive thing, to have time to try things like that, or to spread a little bit cheer. You know, people think about communities and how we can help. Um, yeah, I think if you look for opportunities, they're everywhere. As long as it's, you're not doing it out of feeling like, oh, this is an opportunity, I have to do this. You kind of want to enjoy it as well. It can't be forced.
Yeah.
And that could maybe just come to you randomly one day. You go, oh, I could do that. Well, listen to that voice. If it's something that you would enjoy and other people might enjoy, if you can help one person, brilliant. You know, focus on the people, the cheerleaders, the helpers, focus on the people that appreciate you. Really important, you know.
Mhm. I like that distinction between finding an opportunity that's right for you rather than just going after an opportunity because there's an opportunity. Like, I think there's an opportunity right now to start a video conferencing platform because they are the big things. They are the flavor of the moment. Do you want to start a video conferencing platform, and would you have done that if we weren't in a global pandemic? So
Mm-hmm.
it might be that actually that is your sort of your passion, your heart's desire. You love connecting people, and you love using innovation and technology as a means to do so. But if you're doing it just because a global pandemic seems like a good time to do it, then perhaps that's not the right motivation to go behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always thinking about your intention and why you're doing it. I heard, oh, it was awful. I was driving somewhere the other month, and it was a lady speaking about how she'd bought these products really cheap and was selling them on Amazon for a fortune, and how much she'd made. And I was like, oh, how disgusting. Like, how dare you like put content out to teach people how to rip people off and then gloat about your mansion? just really didn't sit right with me. So it's really coming to your intention. Is this going to help people? Am I going to, really help to boost something? The well-being of the nation is often what I would say. Like, am I going to help someone smile today, or whatever? Yes, we need innovation, and it's great, and it's so much we can do, and technology is amazing. But if you're not really in it, and also something like that would probably be quite a lot of work, wouldn't it? So you need to have a team around you
Yeah.
in place. But if you're talented and it's going to help, absolutely. I'm not very good at technical stuff, so I would certainly not be thinking about anything like that. But if you've got a talent and you've got time is the ultimate commodity, and a lot of us will have more time than we've ever had.
Yeah. I like to wrap things up and bring everything that we've been talking about today to a close. And to do this, I've been asking the questions so far in our conversation today, but I actually want to give you the opportunity to ask the very last question. Jojo, do you have a question that you would like to ask our audience, or you think the audience should be asking themselves?
I would say just to really think about what's important to you, and what are your key values. Not what anyone else would say, but what do you think's your thing? What do you think? Like, for me, I would say my thing is bringing good energy and helping people, to talk about their issues and to have fun. What is your thing? Like, and are you living your life that way right now? And what could you do with this time to make some plans? And thinking about like what your values are, like for me, one of my top values is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of to create, freedom to wear what I want, to freedom just to sing and dance, and all this stuff. So what's really, really important to you? Because when you think about what your values are, then you can look at how you're living your life, and really make sure that you're getting the most out of it, that you're living a life in line with your values, because you can't really know your true value until you know what your values are,
Mhm.
So that's what I would like to ask people. What are your values? What's really important to you? And are they in line with how you're living your life? Because I like seeing smiley, happy people. Um, but it can be very easy to be sad if we don't take the time to ask some of the big questions. So that's my question.
Yeah. For our audience today who have resonated with your story, your message, your work, and they want to find out a little bit more about who you are and the things that you do, where would you be directing people to go?
So mummyjojo.com is my website. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Jojo Fraser Mojo. I'm on YouTube at Jojo Fraser. There's all these platforms. I'm on LinkedIn. But yeah, I guess you can also email me at mummyjojoblog@gmail.com.
Well, Jojo, I'd just like to thank you for joining us today. We've talked about the word energy a lot in our conversation, and I think that's a very apt word to sum you up. You've brought a lot of energy into our discussion today, and I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that and appreciate that here today on the podcast.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come on. It's been really good. So thank you so much.
To continue to help you through this isolation period, I've decided to open up my Author Your Life Academy for free for the next 3 months. Author Your Life is my online educational community where you can access training sessions, workshops, and question and answers, and connect with other people around the world who are going through this situation and trying to make the best of things. The Academy normally costs $27 a month to subscribe, but for the next 3 months, I'm going to open that up for free. Essentially, you're getting a 3-month free trial of the platform. To access the Author Your Life Academy, go to authoryourlife.org uncut.com/academy. And when prompted, enter the code CORONA in block capitals. Yes, what else would the code be? CORONA in block capitals, and that will take your $27 subscription down to zero for the next 3 months. The Academy is where I'm going to be focusing a lot of my content during this difficult time. It's where I'm trying to bring people together to help and support each other as we go through this period of isolation, of fear, of uncertainty. I hope the Academy is something that will be able to help you too during this situation. So if you want to come in and join us, as I said, go to authoryourlife.org/academy, and when you sign up, enter the code CORONA, and that will give you 3 months for free. It's my gift to you to try and help and support during this time as best I can. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd appreciate it hugely if you could head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review for the podcast. With your review, please be as honest and detailed as you can be. Because with honest and detailed feedback, that helps me to adapt and grow this podcast to most serve you, the listener. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, then make sure you subscribe to the podcast. That way you aren't going to miss any of the future episodes that we've got lined up for you. Until next time, remember that you are the author of your life. You hold the pen, and you can write whatever script you want for yourself. So go out today and write yourself a beautiful story.